This tutorial is for 5th grade, Module 4, Lesson 2. In this lesson, we're going to show how fractions can help us with division. The directions say draw a picture to show the division, and then we are to express our answer as a fraction. The first problem is 1 divided by 5. In this case, 1 is my dividend, 5 is my divisor. And that means I'm going to start with 1 and divide it into 5 equal groups. You can see I have one whole already shown in my tape diagram. We've taken the 1 and we've converted it into 5/5. Fifths because we're going to divide it into 5 equal groups. So one whole is the same as 5/5. I need to show the 5/5 on the tape diagram. So I'm going to divide it into 5 equal pieces. So there's my 5/5. Each piece is 1/5. If I'm going to divide my whole into 5 equal pieces, then each one of those pieces would be considered 1/5. When we work through a division problem, we ask ourselves, if I have a certain amount, in this case 5/5, and I divide it into 5 equal groups, how much is one of those groups? Well, one of those groups is 1/5. So 1 divided by 5 equals 1/5. Let's look at another example. Here we have 3 divided by 4, and you can see in the tape diagram that I have 3 wholes that make up the entire tape. If I'm going to divide them by 4, I'm going to start by dividing each whole into 4 equal pieces. So I have one whole, and it consists of 4 pieces, and each piece is 1/4. I'm going to do the same thing to the remaining 2 wholes. So you can see I've taken the 3 wholes and divided each one into 1/4. Altogether, I have 12/4. So 12/4 is the same as 3 wholes. Now I'm going to divide my 12/4 into 4 equal groups. Well, if I have 12 pieces and I'm dividing those 12 pieces into 4 groups, that means there will be 3 pieces in each group. So there's 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, and 4 groups. So I've taken my 3 wholes and I've divided them into 4 equal groups. The answer to my division problem is one of those groups. So one of those groups is 3/4. 3 divided by 4 equals 3/4. Here's another example. This time I have 6 divided by 4, and you can see the tape has been divided into 6 wholes. Each one of these pieces is 1 whole. Since I'm dividing by 4, I'm going to go through and divide each 1 whole into 4 pieces. And again, each of those pieces will be 1/4. I'm going to do the same thing to each of the remaining 5 wholes. And there we have all 6 wholes, and each one has been broken into 4 pieces. That means altogether I have 24/4. There's 4/4 that make up each whole, and I have 6 wholes. Now I'm going to divide my 24/4 by 4. So I'll break these into 4 equal groups. Well, if I'm starting with 24 pieces and I'm going to divide them into 4 groups, that means there will be 6 pieces in each group. So I'll start circling my groups. There's 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, and 4 groups. So I've taken my 24 pieces, I divided them into 4 equal groups. The answer to my question then is how much is in one group? Well, there are 6/4 in one group. So the answer is 6/4. 6 divided by 4 is the same thing as 24/4 divided by 4, which equals 6/4. I could also express this as a mixed numeral, since it takes 4/4 to make a whole, and I have 2/4 left over. As a mixed numeral, my answer would be 1 2/4. My next question says to draw to show how two children can equally share 3 cookies, or to write an equation and express our answer as a fraction. So when I write my division problem, I'll start with how many cookies I have. So I have 3 cookies, and I'm going to divide them across 2 children. So that's the division problem we need to solve. I'm going to draw a picture. Since they're cookies, I'm going to draw circles. So I have 3 cookies, and since I'm dividing them across 2 children, I'm going to divide each cookie into 2 halves. That means I'm going to divide 6 halves by 2 people. So 3 wholes is the same as 6 halves. So now I just have to look at my diagram, and I can divide the cookies into 2 equal groups. Well, here is one group. That would be what one child gets. And then here's my second group, and that would be the second child. And again, the answer to the question is one group. So one child, or each child, would get 3 halves of a cookie, which is the same thing as 1 1/2 cookies. Now let's go back and look at the pattern that was found in the 3 problems we just did. We started with 1 divided by 5, and our answer was 1/5. I can also read a fraction as 1 divided by 5. So this division problem is the same thing as this fraction. In the second problem, I started with 3 divided by 4, and I ended up with an answer of 3/4. I can read this as 3 divided by 4. This division problem is the same as this fraction. And in problem C, I started off with 6 divided by 4, and I got an answer of 6/4. I can read 6/4 as 6 divided by 4. This division problem is the same as 6 divided by 4, or 6/4. And in the last problem we did, we started with 3 divided by 2. We got an answer of 3 halves, which I can also read as 3 divided by 2. So this division problem is the same thing as 3 divided by 2, or 3 halves. So you can see the connection between division and a fraction, and you can also see that we can read a fraction as a division problem. I can read this as 3 divided by 2. Now let's use that pattern to fill out this last section. The division problem is 2 divided by 3. I can write that as a fraction, 2 divided by 3, or 2/3. Here I have 15 divided by 8. I can say 15 divided by 8, or 15/8. Problem C is 11 divided by 4. I would say 11 divided by 4, or 11/4. Here I have the fraction 3 halves. I can read that as 3 divided by 2. And here's the division problem, 3 divided by 2. 9/13 could be read as 9 divided by 13. And 1/3 can be read as 1 divided by 3. So here's the connection between fractions and division.